My name is Devon Parker, and I do youth ministry consulting. In Genesis chapter 22, there's a story about a man named Abraham. And Abraham was asked by God to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac. And while that was an incredibly difficult decision for Abraham, thinking about possibly taking his son's life, he turned to God and he made the decision that God was most important in his life. And so Abraham gathered his son and went up to a mountain and began to build an altar to sacrifice his son. And while Isaac was preparing the altar with his father, he looked at his dad and said, "Dad, where is the sacrifice?" Abraham lovingly looked down to his boy and said, "God will provide." And so they continued to build the altar, and then Abraham began to bind his son's hands and his son's feet and laid him on the altar. And while he was preparing to sacrifice his son, God then spoke and said, Abraham, Abraham, wait. I know that you are struggling. I know that you're hurting right now, but I wanted to know that you were putting me ahead of your son." And so he said, "I will provide." And God provided a ram for Abraham to sacrifice instead of his son. And so all of this means to us that it doesn't matter what struggle we're going through, it doesn't matter what pain we're feeling, it doesn't matter what in our life is going wrong, God will always provide because He knows our hearts and He knows what we need. When I was in high school, I used to struggle with wanting to be popular. And so I would do all of the popular things, and I would go to the popular events, and I would try and be one of the popular kids. But on the inside, that wasn't something that I knew that I wanted. What I wanted was I wanted to be liked by people. I wanted to be admired by people, but I wanted to do it for the right reasons. And when I was striving and struggling to be popular, I was doing it for all of the wrong reasons. I was putting myself in positions that I get into trouble. I was putting myself into positions where I had to question my faith. I had to question decisions that I had made long ago. While there's so many things in this life to struggle with, there's one thing that we don't ever have to worry about, and that's God. God's always there for us, regardless of how we act, regardless of how we treat other people, regardless of how anything in our life goes, God is always there watching over for us. When we sin against God, we need to make sure that we confess that sin. And while God knows everything, it's our opportunity to open up before Him and lay all of our problems, lay all of our sins at His feet. There's a really great method for prayer. It's called the Acts prayer. And in the Acts prayer, it breaks down as an acronym. The A stands for adoration. So be praising God. Tell God of His great qualities. The C stands for confession. So tell God about all of the things that you've been doing wrong, the things that you know that are sins. The T stands for thanksgiving. Be thankful for things in your life. Be thankful for everything that surrounds you. Be thankful for your breath. Be thankful for your school. Be thankful for your family. All of those things are great things to be thankful for. And the S stands for supplication. Supplication means ask. Ask away. Ask big things. Come before God. Be real and be honest and be vulnerable. But ask God for miracles because He is a miraculous God. Ask God for little things because He pays attention to the little things. Ask God for anything that you need because He'll answer your prayer. At this time, gather together with 2 or 3 of the people that are around you. Go through the Acts prayer. Remember adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication, which means asking. And go through each one of those 4 steps with everybody that's around you and begin to pray for each other. Take a few minutes now and pray.